What's good, baby? We back in here with another episode of Corners of the Culture. Wherever you are, we appreciate you for being with us, downloading, subscribing. We apologize for missing last week. A series of scheduling conflicts kind of threw off our recording vibe, including some really stupid ass meetings that weren't necessary, but it's just kind of part of the game. We were called into a meeting on our normal recording day. We were called into a meeting on our rescheduled recording day. That meeting took all of 10 minutes. And the second they walked out the door, it was one of those that could have been a fucking email type conversations. But it's all good. We back here. I'm Damian Barling, along with Kenny Caraway.
Yeah.
And the creative one, the dope ones himself.
Yes, sir. Don is dope in the building. What's good?
Indeed. We appreciate you so much for being with us in an episode today that we've longed to get back to since the first season of Corners of the Culture, and that's beefs. Donnie, you weren't with us the first time we talked beefs here on this show, and really what we did is we kind of laid out how battle raps on a street corner was kind of the birth of some of these diss records that we would hear later on, and it was normally all in good fun. Yo, I'm better than you. Nothing was ever too personal. I'm king of the rhymes. You're not. And then, you know, you've got the famous Kool Moe Dee takes the stage and lights the whole thing on fire. And I think that's kind of where, you know, we left off. We talked about a handful of things, but you remember, like, what was the first, like, hip hop beef you were introduced to?
Oh, man. I mean, I think I would have to say, I was thinking about it on the way here. First hip hop beef I was really privy to was, it was Dre and Easy, man.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't Fuck with Dre Day. The video with AJ Johnson is Easy dancing on the side of the street.
That was crazy.
That was crazy, bro.
That was crazy.
And at the time, I
Had
didn't
Ezel
know,
out there before
had
we even
Ezel
knew it was
before we knew
Ezel.
who Ezel was, right? I didn't know the gravity of the situation, and then obviously, you know, Easy's untimely fate, you know, soon after. But just going back from NWA to that point, that Death Row, you know, situation, that beef was on public display, right? That was on MTV on constant rotation.
Right.
So I'm like, damn, you know, Dre and Snoop going at Easy, pretty crazy. Like, I thought they was homies, you know what I mean?
Right.
But we soon found out that was not the case. But I think, and I don't want to gloss over, you know, early beefs, KRS versus MC Shan, and, you know, stuff like that.
The bridge is over.
You know what I mean? But I think if I personally had to pinpoint like a beef that sort of set the standard for what it would be to battle on record, it would be Cube versus NWA. No Vaseline. That just was no whole bars. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Cube just went crazy on NWA.
Still the coldest one of all time? Coldest diss track of all time?
Well, see,
no, that's debatable.
That one was,
see, I don't
was cold.
I think
it
there's
was,
only
it
one
was.
other song in debate, and it's just the song that I won't play. Like, it's either Pac or it's Cube.
Hit 'em up.
To me, I don't even know. I don't even know what second place
Hit 'em
is.
up. Hit 'em up gets downgraded for me because, no disrespect, but the Outlaws were. I don't listen to Outlaws. So if we talking about Hit 'em up as a whole, I mean, we have to incorporate them into it, and they brought down the quality of that song. No doubt. I don't have no problem with the Outlaws. Like, they're on other great tracks,
Right.
but on that song,
They brought down the quality of the video too.
now I'm running through. Get out the way, y'all. Get out the way, y'all. Like, who the fuck are you? Like,
right?
You punching out your weight class, son. Sit down.
Yeah, man.
Talking about Biggie Smalls.
Like I
just got
said,
dropped.
I like the Outlaws on different tracks.
I don't.
I'm good with the Outlaws.
I don't.
I'm good with the Outlaws. They cool with me, but on that particular track, I thought they took away from what that should have been. It should have been Pac going that big. And even though Pac called him in, he's like, I ain't even gonna deal with y'all, man. I'm gonna let my little, like, he called him in. It's not like they came out of nowhere.
Right.
But I always think about that when I think about that song. Now that verse, that Pac verses, even though I don't like it, I know every damn word.
Right.
I feel like,
know every word of
damn.
it.
Everybody knows how that song starts.
Yeah.
Every single person. And every hip hop fan probably at one time or another has looked at someone and says, first off, fuck your bitch and the click you claim.
But to your original point, though, no Vaseline. I mean, Cube took on the whole group.
Bro.
I feel like Did they have a response at all? Because it felt like they were just stuck, like they couldn't say nothing after that.
Nah, they didn't have. That was basically that led to Dre leaving. Really, like that just led to the whole, dismantling the NWA. Like they couldn't come back from that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then Easy, I don't think he had a response for anybody until Real Motherfucking G's. Like after Dre Day, he came out with that, right? Yeah, he had, because he's talking about Snoop, the anorexic rapper, and all that. But no Vaseline, and to his credit, Real Motherfucking G's is a solid diss record. Like Easy did, he has some some lines in there, but no Vaseline was just it was to me the standard when it comes to a real diss record. Like that was just like the gloves was off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Nah, no Vaseline is that's
goddamn.
right
I'm
there.
glad y'all set it off.
And
Used to be hard. Now you just wet soft. Q was just
bar after bar after bar.
For real.
Yeah.
And I don't know how authentic it is, but I love the scene in Straight Outta Compton when they're sitting around listening
to it. Yeah.
And who was that? Was that Yellow?
It was Yellow who was laughing.
It's like, God damn.
I'd like to think that's how
if that went. Really happened, man, salute to those dudes for that. Because at some point you got to be like, God.
Yeah.
You gotta take like Adrian Broner said, hey, man, we got our ass cooked.
For real.
We got our ass cooked.
Is
that beef? So that's the first one you remember.
Well, no. Yeah, the Dre one.
Yeah.
Q. I had to go back to Q.
Okay.
I went back to that years later. I wasn't even up on the No Vaseline track till years later. But the Dre Easy shit, that was the first time I was introduced to like what it meant for a rap beef. You know what I mean? And then it just seemed like year after year it was beef.
So this might be a Stephen A. Skip Bayless type of question right here. A hot take joint, but you
got a question today?
I know, right? Right. Is Big and Pac really a beef? Like, I mean, clearly it is, but when we're talking about like records, and we'll get to Jay and Nas in a minute, and that was like record after record after record, right? This was like, other than so-called beef with who, and then some investigative work on Long Kiss Goodnight. This really wasn't this was Pac calling out Big, and Big just being like, all right.
It was a beef, though.
But was it? Like, how?
It was a beef. I mean,
it's like a one-sided beef.
Pac set it off. And unfortunately, to be honest with you, like Big had time, obviously, to respond, but everything was so quick. Like he almost didn't have time to respond. Like even if he didn't respond on Long Kiss, maybe he would have done it on a remix or a B-side, or had a bar for it or something. And what was oh my gosh, the Brooklyn's Finest.
Yeah, when he says
Faye had
Tupac. Yeah. Like he referenced it a little bit,
but that wasn't a Pac diss. That was a Faye diss.
So-called beef with who? What's that on?
Notorious
Thugs. Right, exactly.
I think I would.
He had a lot of passive aggressive sort of responses to it, but it's really,
which is what Long Kiss Goodnight is.
Exactly, and a lot of other shit too. I feel like the whole life after death, he's got little things sprinkled in it, directly and indirectly. But we never got a track. We never got an official track.
Like verse.
People, including myself, was under the influence that Who Shot You was the track, but it wasn't. It wasn't.
Who was that a diss to again?
Nobody. The math doesn't even work.
It wasn't
that.
the
It's
Pac,
so crazy. It's so crazy.
I don't think it was a diss track.
Yeah, it wasn't.
He had a diss for somebody.
Big?
Yeah.
I don't think Who Shot You was a diss track.
It was
he had a diss for Kwame.
It was then he had a diss for LL.
Did he? He had a diss for Nas on Kicking the Door. He's like, niggas went home and studied it.
Yeah. And he talked about the album cover.
Yeah, the album cover. Stuff. Yep. And then he kind of had some shit with Wu, like Ghost and Ray.
Yeah.
Talking about Big on a skit, but it wasn't a song.
I feel like Who Shot You might have been. I thought I heard he had something with LL. And maybe it got squashed real quick, but they had something.
LL wrote a record called I Shot Ya.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
So it could like the time because that was a Mr. Smith.
Mhm.
I think that was
wasn't
the introduction to
that-
Foxy Brown, if I'm not mistaken.
That
I
wasn't a
shot the record.
cannabis shot.
No, he did. Well,
No,
Cannabis was on
4, 3, 2, 1
Yeah,
was the can.
Yeah.
but then he did "Can I Bust?" Yes, you can. He did that one too, but he
remember
didn't do that. I shot you. Wasn't
I just
What the fuck?
He
I
might
thought
have.
I
I just
conquered the
remember there was
world. Crush
something-
Mo D, Hammer and Ice T's girl. Like I don't remember. I don't remember that being a shot of cannabis. Maybe it was.
I just remember. I learned this literally recently, like in the last 9 months, that there was a big and LL
Yeah, I had
situation going on.
no
It-
idea about
it maybe it was just like they knew about it and we didn't know about it,
Yeah.
until somebody said it earlier. But I heard they had something going on.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I mean, without being Captain Obvious, Big and Pac was a cautionary tale more than anything because it was started from false pretenses and misunderstandings
Mhm.
and emotions. Emotions were running high, and I
Right.
think the timing of who shot you, whether or not it was directed at Pac just used that as fuel to the fire, right?
Right.
And it gave him all the incentive to come back, with arguably the most scathing diss record ever, which is Hit 'Em Up. But I think I agree with you, Damien. I don't think it was a legitimate beef in the sense that guys are going back and forth on wax. And to be honest, it's never beef, in my opinion, when street shit is actually involved. It's something else when it gets into that realm, because we've seen the ramifications of what that leads to.
Right.
And we know there's a thin line, you know what I'm saying, when rappers are coming from these volatile environments, you know what I'm saying, street shit can easily kind of creep in. But I do think the Big and Pac shit was more of a cautionary situation than anything.
Well, look, to your point about what's beef in the sense of being an MC and rap and all this stuff, and then real street shit. 50 and Ja is not a rap beef. They will never be okay. Like they have real personal street shit.
That is
beef.
personal.
That's when it came to my mind when you said that. Like that's not a rap beef.
Nah.
That is not a rap. Like if they see each other today,
it's gonna be some smoke in the city.
Call 911. Get the authorities here because this are they. Off the top of my head, I don't know if they've been in the same place at the same time since then.
Probably
like
not.
award shows and stuff like that. Like I think
50 doesn't really shake beefs very easily.
No, he doesn't.
Like 50 holds on to stuff almost to like an admirable level. Like this was 2 decades ago with Ja Rule, and he's like, nah, fuck Ja Rule.
He still
Yeah,
didn't he
people
buy
really
like
got
the first 2 rows of the show?
Yeah, he did do that.
That's petty LaBelle shit right there, bro.
But I'm sure they have. Like I don't have the whole, award show, but I think people are aware of. Like if we're having an award show, you got to invite one or the other.
Yeah,
like we can't have them both
because
it's real. Like it ain't no, oh yeah, they dissed each other on a record, and that's what it was. It's like now somebody gonna get hurt.
And I don't want to speak out of terms or say something that ain't true, but to me, that's the only beef I can remember where an actual career ended as a result.
50
you know what I'm saying? Like
50
Ja was dead in the water,
and 50's crew was so deep at the time. Like Green Lantern, like leading that whole thing with M and the G Unit crew. Like they put out mixtapes to destroy,
totally dedicated
to destroy Ja
Rule. For real.
Yeah. And when he
actually ended that, man.
When he first he had Wankster. First he had Wankster, and he had his little son throw the Ja Rule in the trash.
Oh man,
that was hilarious.
Wankster was great.
Wankster was great. And then he came out with Back Down.
Before Wankster on the mixtapes, you gotta remember 50's mixtape run was crazy.
Oh yeah.
When he had that murder, I don't believe you, murder, you
had a few tracks for Ja, man.
Yeah, he did.
He had a few, and then when, like I said, I think the knockout blow was Back Down on on the Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah, for sure.
Must have ceased existence.
Well, you don't remember when he did the Hail Mary joint? They played that song on the radio. It got so big.
Yeah.
Like that was That was a mixtape
It was a
record
mixtape song.
that someone was like, yo, this is a smash.
Yeah.
And they started playing it on the radio. Like, what
crazy.
diss record's been played on the radio like that?
Now we get into this is where your man's who gets a lot of flack, who gets a lot of flack in the hip hop community. I think he earned some stripes, and he said, look, if I need to do this, I can. I just choose not to. But if I need to do this, I can. You talk about what song gets played on the radio and at clubs. How many times do we hear what's the name of the track? Back to Back.
Oh, I was just listening to Back to Back. I was just listening to that shit.
How many times did we hear Back to Back when that dropped?
Yeah.
And he didn't end the career because Meek came back. And thankfully, Meek came back from that. But the little preview, the little shot before,
shot was,
and then 2 days later, it came out with Back to Back was being played at day parties.
That's crazy.
But
crazy.
Back to Back was being played at brunches.
Does it count if you have to drop 2 diss tracks within a couple of days of each other?
I don't think he had to. I think that was all strategic.
Yeah, I think
like, yo, I'm gonna give you this little shot.
Yeah, it was just literally a double down. Like, bruh, you getting bodied by a singing nigga. Like, you need to know, like, this is, this is real.
He gave him a little shot. He was like, all right, you're on the radar.
Yeah.
Probably gave him a day or two to respond. Like, all right, here come Back to Back. And
I had a newfound respect for Drake after that, because I remember when Meek put his little shot out there, I didn't know how Drake was going to respond to it, honestly. I thought he was going to ignore it. And the truth is, he could have ignored it, and it would have been the same outcome, I think. Drake would have kept on making hits, and Meek would have kind of floundered a little bit, then did his thing. But the fact that he responded and the shit was dope, you know, I definitely gained a newfound respect for Drake as like a legitimate spitter.
Now I'm probably the biggest Drake supporter in the room right now. I'm not like a huge, but I'm a bigger Drake supporter
amongst
than you
the three of us,
right? And here's where I'll play devil's advocate though. In boxing, we talk about cherry picking opponents. It felt like he cherry picked the Meek thing. The Meek thing was easy.
Yes.
He had all the ammunition. He probably was like, Meek is nice, but he's a mark. He's an easy target. Like, I could get him and I'm gonna go after him.
That's a great
Jay didn't talk crazy about Drake, not a word. Kendrick didn't say had his little shots for Drake, not a word. So I would say Drake probably cherry picked that situation and it worked out for him, and he gets his credit for him. He won his belt. You know, he won a WBC belt. You can't take away he's a champion, but he's cherry picked.
So wait,
these beefs.
So Meek is a tomato can? What you saying?
He's not a tomato can, but he was like Drake had all the information from Nicki. He had all the information he needed from Meek Mill.
Yeah,
and he could go out there and kind of embarrass him in a certain way.
Yeah,
like I said, Jaden had direct shots at him, hadn't said a word. Kendrick on the Big Sean joint,
Kendrick
had
been
words,
dropping shit,
didn't say a word.
Drake.
So I'm not gonna hold that against Drake, but I'm not gonna act like I don't see it.
Did
I don't see it, Drake.
For Pusha?
He didn't say nothing to Pusha.
Yeah, that's a battle you just won't win.
He didn't say nothing to Pusha.
I don't know that there's a rapper alive that should go against Pusha T in a battle.
So let me ask you a question. This is real time a little bit. Pusha and Jim Jones got something going on right now for everybody that's listening in the past. If you listen to this months later,
right?
In the last week of recording this, Pusha and Jim Jones had a little something at Pusha. Does he get credit?
Full disclaimer: Kenny has a very odd love of everything related to the Dipset.
I got love for Dipset.
He hasn't gone over what happened at Madison Square Garden a little while ago.
I got love for Dipset.
Yeah,
I got love for Dipset, man. Come on,
he hasn't gotten over
Santana
it yet.
set. No. You already know the vibes. Come on, man.
But go ahead.
But unsolicited, we talked about it before. We say, yo, Jim actually did. He did some things.
He did.
If it got into a real battle, he's not gonna win. He's not gonna beat Pusha, like you said. He's not gonna beat him. As Pusha's just gonna come with something, and it's gonna be like, that's just too nasty. Does Jim, who's not even really an MC like that, does he get points for not backing down and actually coming with something?
I mean, I don't think he gets points. What do you think, Damien?
He gets points in a round. He lost 10-8. Like, no,
he didn't lose around 10-8.
No, he did. Like, he didn't put out. It wasn't good. Like, it wasn't good.
You don't think Jim's record was good?
No. I thought it was a good record.
So okay, I don't think it was good, but considering the almost ambiguity of the bars that Pusha dropped.
Mm.
It's like public opinion said, "Oh, that must be towards Jim Jones," and Jim Jones heard that, and because he's insecure, he went and did his record. So for that, I'll give Jim credit for that. And he did it on the block, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I like that aesthetic.
And that was what? That was about 48 hours after
Yeah,
Pusha stuff.
I don't love the song, but he got a couple bars in it. So I'll give him points for that. But I want to see what Pusha responds with, because it was almost like Jim took the bait, kind of.
Yeah.
That could have been directed at a few people.
Right.
You know, that could have been directed at Kanye.
Right.
Because Kanye and Pusha don't fuck with each other.
Right.
That could have been a Kanye subliminal.
But didn't he have a line in there that talked about some about the repo, and Jim Jones got his house repossessed?
Yeah, but that too is still like, I don't know, it's still
but it's one
me.
of those things like I talk about with LL and Big.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
We
know.
may not know exactly,
that's true.
but they know exactly what that bar was meant to be or whatever.
That's true.
So yeah, Push is just not one that you want to go against. He's just not. Like, that's his arena.
See, here's a hot take that I have. I think Pusha T's a tad bit overrated.
Oh, now let's talk about it. Let's talk about let's talk about the basis of where this whole Jim Jones Pusha T started.
Mm-hmm.
Jim has said, "Yo, he can rhyme. He's dope."
Said
like,
this about Pusha.
He said about Pusha. He's like,
and he can
rhyme. He's dope or whatever. He's not a top 50 rapper of all time. And people got mad at that. They took it as a diss. And Jim was like, "Yo, what can you name? Can you rap bar for bar a Pusha T record right now?" I don't think the majority of us can. Like, you got to be a big Pusha T fan to do it.
Yeah.
You could, and I'm not saying he's better. You can get a line or two off of Ballin'.
Yeah.
I could get Grinding, and I could get
but that's
What
technically
Happened to
not
That
a
Boy.
Pushy. Those aren't Pusha T records, though. Those are Clips records.
Well, there's that.
You know what I'm
But I
saying?
can get Grinding and What Happened to That Boy. And then the other one that's a clip record, I think it was Scott Storch or Cool and Dre. When's the last time we heard it?
Oh,
like
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Like, I could probably do that.
Those were all radio records.
I could do that. But like, that was the whole basis of it.
Right.
He was like, "Yo, he's a dope rapper."
Right.
But everybody want to jump out the window and be like, top 50. He's not top 50.
Nah. I don't
I think I agree with Jim
I
on
think
that.
I do too. I think I do too. And I think a part of his appeal has been, dare I say, post Clips.
Are you sure he said top 50 rapper and not top 50 verse?
No, he said rapper. Somebody
He said
said
Pusha T's not a top 50 rapper of all time?
You think he is?
Well, I thought he said something about a top 50 verse with a verse that he dropped. I thought that was the impetus of it, but maybe he said top 50 rapper, which, I mean, I guess it depends on how you judge what a hot rapper is.
Yeah, it does depend on ranking, but if we're talking cumulative from bars to influence to classic albums to even
those other things he was talking
quotable
about.
songs,
influence does he have on the culture?
To me, Push's career was, dare I say, extended by riding the coattails of Kanye West. Because Kanye gave him that good music push, gave him some features. But where's Pusha without good music, right? And even on good music, the albums he put, they were solid.
Yeah. He always gonna put out quality because
he gonna put out quality music.
Crazy.
But it's like the albums as a whole, they're kind of mid. You know what I'm saying? And I think because he got a lot of praise for the Drake diss, for the story of Adonis, from the cover.
Where is he at without disses?
Right, that too, because that's kind of what like he's kind of known for now. So it's easy. I think what you were saying about Drake versus Meek, I think maybe Pusha feels the same way. Like, Jim is a mark, and the way for Pusha to stay relevant is to throw shots, and whoever responds, I'm going at him,
right? Because
Pusha went on Drink Champs and was talking a little reckless about how there's no ceiling, there's no limit, there's no too far. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, we know, because that's what you riding on, dog. Like, I'm not saying you don't put out quality music. I'm not saying that. I like Pusha T. I always have. But I think he's a little overrated.
I think I agree. What you think, Dan? You think you're a top 50 rapper of all time? That's because that's the impetus of.
I think when you get into something as subjective as this, it gets like difficult in terms of just a dude who could rhyme, like lyrics, story. Yeah, Pusha T's not only a top 50, he's probably almost certainly a top 50 rapper of all time.
Which, and not to cut you off,
and I don't agree that his albums are mid either, but go ahead.
Well, that gets into like the thing I always thought about when we talk about that is if that's the case, then Lupe Fiasco is a top 50 rapper all the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I would
absolutely
put
Lupe,
but nobody would say that though.
Right.
Nobody would say Lupe Fiasco a top 50 rapper.
Well, no, I don't agree with that because I think Lupe has had legitimate solo hits, classic albums.
Food and Liquor's a classic album.
Yeah, absolutely. Even The Cool.
The Cool is
like,
a classic album
like,
as well. Yes.
I can't say that about Pusha. That's what I mean when I say mid. For somebody,
yeah, but he got a mainstream rub too, though.
Who?
Like Lupe.
Superstar,
yeah.
Oh, of course.
But that's his
as
song.
a solo artist.
Well, y'all criticized Pusha T for doing it.
But solo.
Pusha was with the Clips. His radio shit. What radio songs has Pusha had as a solo artist?
Shit,
I'll wait. Exactly.
Shit, I don't know.
Exactly. You can't say it off the top of your head. That was Jim's point. And
when the fuck did I played Superstar? That was early 2000s.
No,
that's
Lupe
what
gets credit for it. Pusha don't have a superstar.
Pusha does not have that. And that, if we're counting that,
he really don't get credit for Clips records?
Not as a solo artist.
I see what he's saying. I give him credit for that. When I say I can't rap a Pusha T verse, I check myself and say all the Clip stuff. Like I can rap that stuff.
I absolutely can rap the Clips. The Clips as a group, I love that album. Lord willing, that was my shit.
Right.
I played that forever. But Pusha as a solo artist, I might have played a handful of tracks off of Daytona, and what's the one with the Whitney Houston?
I don't even remember the name of it. I remember the picture of the bathroom.
Yeah. I mean, to me, and then too, the thing about Pusha that I don't like is his content is so redundant. And I don't want to make this the Pusha T hour, but I really think he's overrated. I just do. I really do.
So he's the 51st greatest rapper of all time?
Like, he's 51. He's the 51st spot. Exactly.
Can we double back to something real quick?
Please.
Now that we've exhausted the Pusha T, Jim Jones conflict. I feverishly was searching for like evidence of an LL Cool J Biggie beef. And now I got to go through Who Shot You line for line to figure out, because I stumbled across this article, and apparently it's from Funk Master Flex. So we had always heard, I think most of us has heard, for those who don't know, Who Shot You was a B-side. It was originally made for What's the 411?
Mm-hmm.
And Uptown was like, yeah, nah, this is too much.
Right.
But the original song was the beat that we know, Big, Keith Murray, and LL. LL never recorded his verse for the song. And so now I'm trying to, now you lost me, because I'm about to go through Who Shot You line for line to figure out, did he throw, because this article doesn't say anything. It examines more of the Tupac Biggie part and sets the backdrop. Like if it doesn't take much to realize the timeline doesn't work.
Yeah.
The timeline doesn't work for Who Shot You to be about Tupac.
Yeah.
But now I'm trying to figure out, like, what line did he throw at LL, because he was mad that LL didn't record his record. And where the fuck is Keith Murray's verse?
Yeah.
Right.
I've never heard Keith Murray's Who Shot Your verse, and I want to hear it.
Yeah, like I said, I think within the last year, I feel like LL talked about it himself. That's where I heard it.
So I found a couple of things here. Unfortunately, they're YouTube videos, so I can't. I can distract myself with reading while you two are talking, but I can't listen to a YouTube video while we're talking. But I had never heard this before, and now I'm fascinated by it.
It's just crazy, like how coincidental he would make a song like that when the whole gravity of Pac getting shot was like, who did this? And Big's upstairs, and he makes a fucking song called Who Shot You. Right? Exactly.
It just happened
to be Who Shot You, and it's just crazy.
Who Slapped You does not have the same. Who slapped you? Separate the weak from the obsolete.
It's funny though.
If we title these episodes, that might be the title. Who slapped you?
Oh my.
Oh man, but okay, so
Yeah.
but we cannot. We would be remiss if we did not speak on what I think
It's
the
the greatest beef of all time.
greatest beef of all time,
Yeah.
which is Jay-Z and Nas.
Whew.
Which
Man.
resulted in one of the greatest moments of all time when the beef ended.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, there were shots thrown. I think each person definitely had
Mothers
one.
got involved.
Right.
Mothers got
Right.
involved.
But each Jay and Nas had one little shot, like a bar. Or did they both have two?
Well, okay, so from what I remember, because I was very invested in this shit, and I remember having them like because there was MTV news specials, and it wasn't no YouTube out at this time,
Right.
right? But from what I understand, the first shot was actually from Nas, or what was perceived as a shot was
Mhm.
from Nas on the QB's Finest
Mm.
album, the Bridge 2001 or whatever.
Mhm.
I don't even
That's the joint
remember.
with Uchiwali, right?
No. Yeah. That's Uchiwali is on that record.
Yeah.
And but I can't remember the damn line.
Was that's not the one where he says H to the Izzo, M to the Izzo?
No.
That's
This was
that's
after.
the next one.
That's on the Rakim joint.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
So it wasn't even Jay who responded to that. Memphis Bleak heard that
Yeah.
and said,
Mm.
Yeah.
"This nigga sneak dissing us.
Mhm.
We need to respond."
Yeah.
So I think Memphis responded.
And real quick, not to cut you off.
No, go
Do
ahead.
you think that was it a real diss from Nas? Was it a real shot?
I
Or
mean,
did Memphis kind of run with something?
I think he might have ran with something though, because it's similar to like the Pusha shit, like just
Right.
putting something out there
Yeah.
and seeing who responds.
Or it could be like I keep saying, they know.
yeah,
We
exactly.
may not know.
Okay, so
they know.
that's a great point, because apparently behind the scenes, Hov was pressing Nas's baby mother. Like
Carmen.
he wanted Carmen. He wanted,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like, and they did have a thing, I guess.
Mhm.
Which he obviously later used as ammunition. But that was the sort of the genesis of it. So then it was the Summer Jam
Mhm.
thing when he had Prodigy
Yeah.
on with the ballerina thing, and he's like,
Yeah.
Nas don't want to with Ho, but that was it.
That was it.
And then
right.
Nas did the H to the Izzo, M to the Izzo, and that was when it all popped off.
came.
And then Takeover. Yeah, I want to hear y'all opinion on Takeover, because I was listening to it again this morning.
Don't forget though, he didn't do the full Takeover rap at Summer Jam.
No, that's what I'm saying.
He just did it. Yeah, he ended it with that bar.
Ask Nas, he don't want to
Yeah,
withhold,
and that's where it ended.
And
Yeah.
everybody was like, oh.
Exactly.
They thought that was it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. But what do you, I want to hear y'all take on Takeover as a diss record.
Oh, look here, man. We talk about Hit 'Em Up. Takeover might be the nastiest diss track of all.
Yeah,
Think
to
so?
me, Takeover is above
Oh,
Ether.
man.
Both are behind No Vaseline.
So Takeover.
I'd probably put
is
Takeover
bitch.
too. Yeah, I'd probably, like, if I were to rank the records, it'd probably be No Vaseline, Takeover, and then
I
Ether.
could go with that.
Yeah, see, I can't. I don't co-sign that. I don't like the beat. Number one, I know this is not popular opinion. I don't like the beat.
No, it's
Like,
trash opinion.
I don't.
Like I like Dipset.
Yeah,
He likes Nas.
I love Nas.
Oh,
I'm a rock
that's
for
that's
Nas.
right. That's
Exactly.
right.
This
I
is why I was
forgot.
so invested
I
in it,
forgot.
because I
That's
ride
right.
for Nas.
Okay. All
Let's
right.
go all day.
Cook,
Let's
Donnie.
go.
Cook, Donnie. Cook, baby.
Nostradamus was a dope album.
Chef Dope.
I had the 3D glasses for the video premiere.
Was that Hate Me Now? Was that
Nah,
Nostradamus?
Hate Me Now was on I Am.
I Am was a dope.
I
Oh,
Am was
yeah.
amazing.
People got to hate on I Am.
I Am
was a
don't
dope
get enough
album.
credit.
Yeah.
No, Nostradamus, nasty,
That had,
Oh, yeah.
that had You Owe Me on it.
Yes.
Oh,
with
Genuine.
Timbaland.
Yeah.
You
For
Owe Me
sure.
was a smash too. People hate on it, but You Owe Me was a smash.
Oh yeah. Who
He
people
had
hate on that?
Beyonce. He had Beyonce in the video rocking the chain. People forget that.
Mm.
Anyway,
Boy, Donnie
So you
worked
don't
up,
like
boy.
Takeover.
no, well,
you don't like
okay,
the beat.
okay, wait, no, but see, I okay, the song as a whole, right?
Mhm.
I think it was lazy for Jay to use them same two bars, them same two verses that he did on Summer Jam. That's number one.
Mm.
Don't like the beat, but the Nas verse is hard. You can't deny it. And when you think about it being sort of factual as far as like him going over the records, you know what I mean? Like I could divide. That's whatever. You know what I mean?
That's say two.
You know,
two of them shits was due.
Yeah, exactly. Like I was like, you can't deny that, right?
Yeah.
Because Nas had some lackluster years there.
Yeah.
But Ether just out the gate, even though it was mostly insult based.
So okay, I'm glad you said. I'm gonna let you finish. But I'm glad
Even though it was insult based, to me, it trumps Takeover because as a whole, like it's a diss record from beginning to end. And Nas was the underdog too. So I love an underdog
you're disqualified
story
from this conversation.
What? Well,
you're too emotionally invested.
No. Because okay, I don't know how it was received on the West Coast, but it's unanimous that Nas won the beef on the East Coast. But of course, Jay won the war because he's Jay.
Yeah.
And
Ether was fire. Like I don't know that's even remotely up for debate. Like there's some...
I'm not saying, of course it was, but as far as the ranking, how you said no Vaseline and Takeover than Ether, I think Ether's a better track.
Dane, what you think about that? Like Takeover versus Ether, who won, all this other stuff.
Well, yeah, no, I have Takeover above Ether. Like it's...
So you think Jay won? Like if we talking about it in that way, like Takeover better.
Well, no, I thought we were talking about a single record.
Well, we are,
no,
but
I mean,
now
I'm
curious to hear what y'all think.
Those two. I mean, it comes down to those two. It's Takeover better than
right.
Ether. Like
to me,
that's what it is.
To me,
yeah,
Jay brought Nas on stage, so Jay won.
What do you mean when they reconcile
on Summer Jam?
Summer Jam. Oh, you mean
Summer Jam when he teased who's going to be the next person, who's going to be on the Summer Jam screen this year?
Yeah,
and everybody waited, and that talk all summer was who's Jay going to destroy this year, and then Nas comes out.
See, that's not fair, though.
What you mean that's not fair?
Just because he reconciled the beef means he lost? Because Nas could have said no.
He's talking about the Summer Jam. What started the beef was officially. You talking about what kicked it
No.
off?
I'm talking about the reconcile. I'm talking about
just because he ended the beef, he lost.
Just because he went with Jay.
Yeah, but Nas could have said no,
but he didn't.
So he lost because he said, "Okay, I'll come on. I'll publicly reconcile the beef."
Yes.
That's not
fair. Nah.
I don't care if it I ain't here for fair. You asked who I thought won the war.
So
he said, Nas, I got the biggest stage in hip-hop. Let's squash this thing. Okay, let's go on stage together.
That's not why he squashed it though. He was trying to go, wasn't Jay and 50 embroiled in some shit?
They had some stuff going on.
And Jay wanted to bring Nas on as an ally.
I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 cents?
He was gonna go at 50 because he felt like 50 was just out here, like
out of control,
reckless. And he wanted to use that as an opportunity to not only reconcile but ally.
But I don't think that's
Nas.
true. Because he told 50, he was like, I'm getting you back for How to Rob. Like, I'm getting you back.
Because he liked the record. But I think it was after that though. And then they did an MTV interview with Sway. And when
who's they?
Jay and Nas.
Okay.
You remember that? When he sat down and he said, you can't, because okay.
Don't fact check with Donnie about Nas. They know this shit.
So Jay said you can't sign Nas. You can only partner with an artist of his stature. And really, there's always been a mutual respect. Who's the best in the game? Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas. Jay been praising Nas since his career started. So to me, Nas's line, you been on my dick, nigga. You love my style. Nas won.
Because of that one line.
Do I need to reference dead presidents? I'm out for presidents to represent me.
You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song.
It wouldn't have been a hot song without Nas's vocal on it, though.
Yeah, we sampled your voice. You was using it wrong.
You sample my voice.
You sampled your voice. You was using it wrong.
I count dough off when you sample my voice. Queens niggas run you niggas. Ask Russell Simmons. ROC.
You're leaving out one of my favorite lines, though. You're leaving out one of the best lines.
It's the best episode ever.
Y'all niggas deal with emotions like bitches.
I rock hoes, y'all rock fellas.
So here's what I'll say about
sad as you, my brother. You traded
Traded
your soul for riches.
My child, I watched you grow up to be famous, and now I smile like a proud dad watching his only son that made it. Come on. How can you say that it's not harder to take over, man? Come
There's
on.
a video gonna be out for this.
Let me ask
The
you.
video gonna be out for this.
Oh,
Let me ask you something.
goodness.
Let me just ask everybody. No, I'm not gonna ask you. I'm gonna ask you. When was the last time you listened to Ether? Ballpark.
I would say in the last year and a half.
When was the last time you listened to Takeover?
Probably in the last 9 months. But that's also not fair because I listened to the Blueprint more than I listened to Illmatic, just as a whole. Just
Which record can you recite?
Is that still
that's
bar?
both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, both of them. Like both of them are just fire. Here's what I'll say about that beef. And my cousin, shout out to my man Ace. We got to get Ace on here whenever we do some of these episodes. But he's a big Jay-Z guy, right? I'd love to see the episode just to see you two talk about Jay-Z.
But I love to see this. I love Jay.
But,
you know I
and
love
he loves
Jay.
Nas. But
Yeah,
when it gets
like
down to it, it gets down to it, it's like, yo, I gotta run
to the beef though.
He
I'm
says,
still riding with Nas, man.
He says Jay won based on one of the things that you talked about was the Ether was more insult based. Takeover was factual, so to speak, when you talk about albums and all this other stuff and, you know, sampling the song and all that, like, we didn't pay you, you know, Churchlight Publishing. He says it's more factual, and Ether was more like a schoolyard, you're ugly type disc. I don't know if I necessarily buy that as why that's why Takeover is better. All I know is when that song dropped and when we heard the song was going to drop, I was playing basketball at Consumnes River College. We heard a week before Nas got a diss. Illmatic drops. My main man, Jonathan James, who's the head coach over at CRC right now, big Jay-Z fan. Big Jay-Z fan, right?
Yeah.
And he was playing the Blueprint all the time. He was riding big because of the Takeover. And we threw in the locker room, we threw on Ether. And after the track, he goes, "Oh, come on, Hov, you gotta get him. Yeah. He got you, Hov, you gotta get him." And that right there is like, nah, he got him. And here's another thing. Jay, with the condom wrappers on your baby seat, super ugly.
Yeah.
He was hurt by Ether.
I was just gonna
he
say
was
that.
hurt by
How
Ether.
many times
Ether was the one time I've seen Jay hurt.
Jay was in his feelings.
He was hurt.
I remember when he went on Rap City and was dissing. They shooting. Nobody dying. Like, shut up.
Hey, Ether hurt Jay-Z.
It hurt his feelings.
That was the
Which
probably
is
the one
why-
time in his career I've seen him hurt.
I proved you lost already.
That's where this whole thing got. That's where this whole thing got sideways. Like super ugly,
Super
got
Ugly
yourself a
was-
gun,
was-
bad
was-
intentions, all that stuff was
That
like,
was
all right.
egregious. Okay,
It's-
that was an egregious diss record.
And that's where
It was-
Gloria Carter got involved.
Yeah,
It was
man.
like, hey, this shit gotta stop.
Yeah.
Like,
Can't
y'all,
bring people's
we ain't
babies
doing
in
this.
it, bro.
Yeah, we ain't doing this.
But you're right, Kenny.
That's where I would say
was
Nas
in
won,
his feelings.
because he came out with Super Ugly. Like the next day,
Yeah.
played it on Angie Martinez or Funk Flex 1 or 2. It was like, yeah, left condom wrappers on your baby seat. Like, bro, he's hurt, bro.
Yeah, bro. He was in his feelings for sure. Which again, you know, kind of points to you lose when you in your feelings. Like, it's just a fact. You feel confident when you walk away something the victor. Jay ain't feel that confident.
No,
after
Jay
that.
felt like he took a shot. Right
To
there. He
me,
took a
okay,
blow.
so to me, the best or the line, if I was Jay-Z, the line that would have gotten me the most was, "You seem to be only concerned with dissing women. Were you abused as a child, scared to smile? They called you ugly." And there's that awkward picture of Jay as a kid. "Life is harsh, hug me, don't reject me or make records to disrespect me, blatant and indirectly." Like that
in
line.
88, you was getting chased in your building.
I mean, come on, man.
Calling my crib, and I ain't even give you my number.
All I gave you a style for you
Yo.
to run with.
Yo, how'd you get my number? I didn't give you. Why are you calling me?
You used to rap like the Fushnikins.
So say definitively, you've got Nas winning this beat,
Yeah, I got Ether.
and you got Ether above Takeover.
So that's where it gets crazy. I think Takeover is a better rap record. Like I think Takeover is better, but there's also a caveat because there's a whole verse dissing Prodigy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the way he ends it, for all y'all niggas that throwing shots at Jigga, you only get half a ball. Fuck y'all niggas. I mean, that's just nasty. So I got Takeover as a better song, but I think Nas won the battle.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, of course I think so, but I know so. But you can't deny, like, so I think it was a chess move in a way, Jay being, he was president of Def Jam, and then Nas gets signed to Def Jam. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
He saw that opportunity and took advantage.
Right.
He's cerebral, he always,
Absolutely.
okay, yeah, we friends. It's like D Wade asking LeBron to come to Miami. Like, yeah, like we friends, but I'll always have one more chip than you.
Exactly.
There's ulterior motives to that too. So Jay's like, yeah, we cool. Like I respect you, but if you get out of line, I can always say I was your boss.
Nas said on King's Disease 3, he's like, I still listen to Takeover. I text Jay like, it ain't over,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great line too.
Greatest beef battle, whatever, of all time, man. That's
for sure.
Oh, by far.
That's
for sure.
Yeah, by far. And it's because they're two of the greatest of all time.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you so much for being with us. Download, subscribe. If you're on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe buttons there as well. Share this podcast across social media platforms. Tell all your friends about Corners of the Culture here. Make sure you check out thedopeones.com. Shop thedopeones.com. Plenty of Nas merchandise over there, though, I'll tell you.
Plenty and more on the way, baby.
Plenty of Nas, but wait till the Nas 2023 collection drops after today's episode.
I'm going to work on it right now as soon as I leave.
Where that 444 merch at, man? Where that at, man?
I got some whole pieces. I got some dope whole pieces.
Got the reasonable doubt joint.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate you for being with us. We'll see you here next week on Corners of the Culture.
Peace.